I make no secret of it. I'm poor as dirt. My life has been plagued by illness, no pun intended, and I'm currently an unpaid family carer. And yet, I'm a libertarian. I could go on for years talking about how the welfare system has given fish to people without actually teaching anyone to fish and therefore creates an untenable cycle of poverty.
When you offer up all these benefits, we're going to give you this, that, and this, we're going to give you these benefits, we're going to give you food stamps, we're going to give you shelter, you attract homeless people. It's kind of it's kind of sad, really. The intention is great, but the result is devastating.
I could talk about my experiences as both a teacher and as a disability nurse, and the problems that I've seen in both the healthcare systems and the teaching systems of America and Australia. My mother was a teacher for 32 years, and the only career advice she ever gave me was, don't be a teacher. The system is broken, and teachers have no power to fix it. Teachers have no power to actually teach. The bureaucracy is corrupt, and of course they won't fix the problems because they love it. They're getting rich off of it. They're getting rich off of failing students and miserable teachers. And of course I could talk about propaganda and corruption in government, and well, that's pretty much a thing that happens in every country. So why do I bring all of this up? Well, there are a lot of free market capitalists, or perhaps enthusiasts I should say, who have this particular saying. It's a private company.
Is he though?
To me it's become the brand new
It's free real estate.
because it's basically a meme at this point. Now, recently it's been used to defend big tech monopolies like Google, Facebook, and Twitter, and how they ban people for political reasons. Or sometimes even no reason at all. Now, while you may certainly be able to call these people free market capitalists or enthusiasts or ANCAPs, you can't call them libertarians. And I will explain why I believe this to be the case. But first, well, what is a libertarian then? Well, at its most basic principle, a libertarian is just someone who believes that individual liberty is the most important guiding principle for any society. If government is to exist at all, it should only be to protect the rights of the individual. So, understandably, a libertarian might agree that it's within, say, a baker's right to not bake a cake that clashes with their religious beliefs. It's also within their right to lose money in business due to those beliefs, due to not wanting to bake certain cakes. They will lose business, and it's in their right to do so. So why then do I rebuke the notion that it's a private company cannot be used by a libertarian in regards to Facebook or Google or Twitter when they choose to ban people? Obviously, there is the problem that these massive technocracies are banning people for political reasons. They are censoring speech. They are banning people from what are essentially public spaces. These tech platforms are defined as such, as platforms. They are not publishers. If they were publishers, then anybody posting, say, child porn or violence, illegal violence, to Facebook would immediately bring Facebook to its knees or to rubble because they would be responsible for that child porn or that violence. They would be the publisher of such. So why are they allowed to censor people if they are only platforms? If they're basically just putting a soapbox in the public square and saying, here's my soapbox, anybody can stand on it and say whatever they want. But I'm not responsible for whatever you want to say on my soapbox. You can say whatever you like, I don't care. But that's my soapbox, you know. Instead, they're just basically saying, no, you're not allowed to say that. How dare you say that? Get off of my fucking soapbox. Oh, you've got to say what I want you to say. Like, well then what's the point of having the soapbox in the public square then? Put it in your house if you only want people saying your fucking communist propaganda. Back to the subject at hand. A platform I think I just spat all over the camera. A platform is not liable for the content that it hosts, ergo, these platforms are online public spaces. The choice of Google, Facebook, and the rest to ban, censor, and obliterate the work of thousands of people is an act of a publisher, or for that matter, it's the act of a monarchy, a technarchy, if you will. The Silicon Valley cartel has a stranglehold on the public, and if you do not choose to conform to their ideology, they will have you erased from the public square. You will be digitally assassinated. Anybody who is okay with these platforms censoring, silencing, and in many cases taking away the incomes of individuals, you cannot be a libertarian. These are champagne socialists, and they are becoming as powerful, if not more powerful in some cases, as a government in their own right. Beneath its iron boot, from the safety of their gated communities in Silicon Valley, they can do whatever they want to you. And you and me and anybody else can't do anything about it. Anybody who is okay with that is not a proponent of individual liberty. You can't call yourself a libertarian. You can call yourself a free market capitalist. You can call yourself an ANCAP. You can call yourself whatever you want, but you can't call yourself a libertarian, or at least you can't call yourself that in good faith. I do not believe that to be the case. These companies want nothing more than to steamroll over you, over your every right that you have as an individual. And they will do that. Because who's stopping them? What, are you going to stop them? I mean, they can do what they want, right? They're a private company.
Is he though?
You can't call yourself a libertarian. That's not supporting liberty. That's supporting monarchy, absolute tyranny. How dare you call yourself a libertarian and support such fucking dictatorship over the individual. It's dictatorship over the individual in every sense. They control the digital space, and they can do with it whatever they want. Whatever they want. Even if it goes against, the very legal definitions of what a platform is. They don't care. Because apparently, you can't just adapt the Constitution for the internet space. And even then, countries like Australia, they don't have a constitution because our government thinks that you're shit, basically. And you don't deserve freedom in Australia. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's better than some countries, but it could be better. I'm allowed to complain about things that I think could be better. These are corporations that are hell-bent on instituting socialism at their whim. You, me, and even the government have no ability to prevent them from banning people, censoring people, kicking them off the platform, cutting off their income, destroying their careers, destroying their livelihood, taking away their voice, taking away their access to public figures like politicians, which is a constitutional right to have access to a politician. For God's sake, you can't say, oh yeah, well, it's a private company. You can call yourself that, but you're not a libertarian. I mean, you can say that. You can say that if you want, but you're not a libertarian. You do not support individual liberty if that's if that's your attitude. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just gonna lie down and let them steamroll over the top of me because they're a private company. They can do whatever they like, right? It doesn't matter if I have any fucking rights. As long as they do. Like I said, you can call yourself an ANCAP. I mean, I actually quite like the ANCAPs in a lot of ways. I mean, we should be able to buy anthrax on the street corner. That'd be sweet. I'm not being facetious either. I genuinely do like the idea of just total fucking freedom of the market. I like it. But I also believe that we should protect the rights of the individual, because otherwise our society ends up no different to socialism. It's the same with when you get like really small communities of like socialists or communists, or for that matter libertarians. They kind of end up looking the same. You know, if you live in a house, a share house, and you're either, you know, communist and nobody owns anything and everything is for free, you know, like everything belongs to everybody and we all put into a common pot. I mean, you know, it's very similar to hippie communes and they worked fine, right? And if you look at the hippie communes, they were very similar to libertarian societies. They didn't force people to pay taxes. It was all voluntary. You put it into a common pot, and if somebody's sick, well then you all, you know, you all give out of the common pot to that person if they need like surgery or whatever. Libertarian societies and communist societies on really small scale end up working exactly the same almost, and they work on a small scale. They don't work on humongous scales, at least not that we've seen yet. But I still like the idea of, you know, the free market being as free as possible. But I also like the idea of the individual being as free as possible. Because, I mean, I don't know if this is obvious, but I'm an individual. I am an individual, man. I want my freedoms. I want my freedoms. You can't take away my freedoms, man. Anyone who is comfortable with YouTube obliterating 17,000 channels for ambiguous and arbitrary hate speech policies simply because it's a private company.
Is he though?
You can't say that you're a libertarian if you're okay with that. A libertarian believes in freedom for every single individual. If you believe that the freedom of YouTube, Facebook, and Google and other massive corporations is bigger than my freedom or your freedom, newsflash, you're an authoritarian. You're the opposite of a libertarian. You're the opposite. Anyone who says it's a free, you know, it's free.
It's free real estate.
Anyone who says it's a private company in regards to, like, yeah, the small baker on the corner, yeah, I agree with that. You're a libertarian because you're supporting his right. And he's going to lose business anyway, right? You know, it's a little from column A, it's a little from column B. You know, that's fair. If you're like, hey, this humongous corporation that has literally all of my data, knows everything about me, or possibly is actually responsible for my income and where I make my money and how I make my living and how I buy bread and shit, oh, they have the power to just Thanos snap me out of existence whenever they like. Oh, but they're a private company, they can do what they like, right? No, you're not a libertarian, because Facebook and Google have the power of humongous governments. They are fucking monarchies, they are huge. The little Christian baker on the corner, he's a nobody, nobody fucking cares. Let him do whatever he wants. It's a bit different. Besides, the people who want the cake made can just go to another bakery, can't they? It's a little different if you make your living off of YouTube and people say, oh, well, you can just go to BitChute. Okay, am I going to make a living off of BitChute? Probably not. Maybe in the future, when YouTube eventually puts its foot in its mouth and then shoots itself in the foot for the final time, maybe then BitChute will be big enough to make a living off of. But for the time being, if you're okay with a massive company basically saying, no income, goodbye, we're going to ban you from this platform because screw you. That's why they're a massive technocracy. They're technarchy. They're government in and of their own right.
Beto made the case not just for confiscating your property, but for preventing you from buying it in the first place. And if he can't legitimately earn government power to do it, he'll just lobby and scold corporate power to adopt his heavy-handed authoritarianism instead. In a campaign email and tweets posted Thursday, Beto says that credit card companies and banks are enabling mass shootings and must cut off sales for so-called weapons of war. Specifically, they must refuse to take part in the sale of assault weapons. They must stop processing transactions for gun sales online and at gun shows without background checks, and they must stop doing business with guns and ammo manufacturers who produce or sell assault weapons.
If you support them, you're an authoritarian. If you say that their rights are bigger than the rights of the creator or just a person on Twitter, You're an authoritarian. You're the opposite of a libertarian. So no, those people saying, oh, they're libertarians, they think that Facebook can do whatever it wants. No, actually, I don't. And I know this is like a no true Scotsman thing, but I mean, if you look at the definition of libertarian, it's that you support the rights of the individual for freedom. Freedom. I do not support a massive technocracy steamrolling over my rights or the rights of any other little guy, okay? That's not libertarianism, mate, not by the definition of it. And I hate to go with the whole, my definition, my literal definition, but it's like, it's getting to the point where it's like, are you serious? You're supporting a massive authority that's gonna completely butcher you, digitally at least, and you think that that's somehow supporting liberty and freedom? I think you've got this a little bit backwards. I don't think that you understand what's going on here. You cannot support the tyrannical I have a dick stuck in my throat. You cannot support the tyrannical dictatorship of Silicon Valley and its technarchy, its technocracy, and call yourself a libertarian. I hope you enjoy the social credit score. I will not be joining you in that particular future.
I'm the enemy, because I like to think. I like to read. I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit in a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have the T-bone steak or the jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with the side order of gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to eat bacon and butter and buckets of cheese, okay? I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati in a non-smoking section. I want to run through the streets naked with green jello all over my body reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly might feel the need to, okay, pal? I've seen this future. You know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin sitting around in his beige pajamas drinking a banana broccoli shake singing, I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener. You live up top, you live Cocteau's way. What he wants, when he wants, how he wants. Your other choice? Come down here, maybe starve to death.
Kisses.